What's going on, guys? Kelmeyer with theeasiestbusiness.com. I have a quick video for you today, and today we are talking about how to price your caulking work. So let's just jump right into it. So the first thing you need to do is you need to find the linear footage of the space that needs to be caulked. In today's example, we're not doing any one-off situations or any weird situations. We're going to assume that all the trim is installed properly and you have like an 1/8 inch gap or something of that nature when it comes to coverage rates for caulk. So in the example that I'm going to give you here, we're looking at a door frame in this white graphic here. It's 7 feet tall by 3 feet wide. That's your standard, typically your standard size for like a door frame in a residential house. They're going to differ by a few inches, but 7 by 3 will get you pretty close to where you need to be. In your example and your real life situation, measure the door frame if you want to. If all the door frames in the house are the same, measure one and go from there. But if we add up all three sides from this graphic, we'll come up with 17 linear feet that needs to be caulked for this one frame. So for example, if we have an entry door to a room that's this size, and then we have one closet in the room that's this size, closet door that's this size, we'll have 34 linear feet to caulk for these two doors. That's just 17 feet times both doors. Finding linear footage part 2. The next thing we need to do is find the footage of the caulking of the remaining trim in the room. So let's say they have baseboards, shoe molding or toe molding, and then crown, right? So to do this, we must first figure out the perimeter of the room. On the graphic below, you can see what each side is. It's a 10 by 12 room. And so we're going to take our 10, multiply it by 2, or just add it together with the other 10. It's going to be 20. And then add the 12 with the 12. That's going to be 24. And 24 plus 20 is what? 44. So 44 will know the perimeter of the room is 44 linear feet. You just go around and add up all the sides, right? Don't let me confuse you. But if we had to caulk just the gap between, the baseboards and the walls, because if new baseboards gets put on, it's going to have to be caulked there. We'd have 44 linear feet to caulk because the baseboards would assumably run all the way around the room, right? But then if we had toe molding, instead of going around and measuring the room again or whatever, we would just double our number from 44, which is just our baseboards, to give us our toe molding as well, because our shoe molding is going to travel the same distance that our baseboard is. And the shoe molding is always going to need to be caulked between the molding and the baseboard. So we'd have 88 feet. So, and then if we had crown, we just triple our base number of 44 and get 132 linear feet, because the crown is going to have to be caulked as well. And you're actually going to have to quadruple your number, because the crown is going to have to be caulked on the top and the bottom side. I did not think about that when I was making these slides. So don't omit that. You're going to have to quadruple your number in the example. Calculating our material cost. This wholly depends on what caulk you're using. For easy math, we're going to go with a $3 tube. So I looked on Sherwin-Williams at the caulk I used, 950A, and it said it was $2.99 without discounts or whatever it was on their website. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to round up to $3 a tube. The docs say with an 8-inch gap, like I was saying earlier, it'll cover 100 linear feet. I think you can actually get more than 100 linear feet out of a tube, but when calculating coverage rates, you should always round down. So we're just going to go with what they say on the docs. So if our tube of caulk costs $3, then it'll stretch 100 linear feet. We can safely know that it'll cost us 3 cents a linear foot, and we get that by taking our cost and dividing it by our coverage. So $3 is our cost, divided by 100. That's how many linear feet it will cover, and we get 3 cents. Calculating labor costs. This depends on how quickly you can caulk, or your guys can caulk, and how much you're paying them, right? For easy math, let's say you pay yourself $25 an hour, or you pay a guy $25 an hour, and you can caulk 150 linear feet an hour. You can caulk, the baseboards in the example we talked about in 3 different rooms in an hour. To figure out our linear foot price for labor, we need to divide our hourly pay rate by our production rate. So in this case, $25 an hour divided by 150 linear feet is 0.1666. But we're going to round up, because we always like to round up just to be safe, when we're estimating. So it's going to be 17 cents a linear foot once rounded up. Now, these labor and these material numbers, they don't include markup, and they don't include margins. Since we decided it took 17 cents a linear foot to caulk and 3 cents a linear foot in materials, we still need to add markup to our materials, and I personally like to add margins to my labor. If you need clarification on markup versus margins, I have a video on my channel for that. Anything you don't understand in this example when it comes to the math portion, I likely have a video for it on my channel. So just go to my channel and look for whatever you need to look for to figure it out. So I typically add 50% margins to my labor. I'll double what it costs me for labor to get what I should charge for labor. So in this case, if I charge 17 cents a linear foot, if that's what it costs me, rather, I'm gonna charge 34 cents to the client per linear foot for just the labor. And then I add markup on materials instead of margins for reasons I've spoke about in other videos. So I need to multiply 0.03 because it's 3 cents a linear foot by 1.15. That'll give me 15% markup on my material. That'll come out to 3.45 cents a linear foot, which is what I should be charging for materials. So once I know both of these numbers, my number of labor costs, and then I know what I need to charge for it with my margins, then I know my material cost, and then what I need to charge for it with my markup, I can add my marked up numbers together to give us 37.4 cents a linear foot. And that's exactly what I should be charging to caulk any necessary joints moving forward. So you do the math once and then you're done. And now you know with a standard tube, a 950A, if that's acceptable on the job, I need to be charging 37.4 cents a linear foot, assuming the same guy's doing the caulking and the gaps aren't crazy and messed up. So that's pretty much it. Some things to consider before leaving. It depends really heavily on your labor rates. Don't take my word as Bible. You need to put your numbers in, your material costs in, your production rates in, how fast you can do it. You just need to use my video as a base formula. And as always, if you don't know how to figure margins or markup, check out my channel. I have videos on those. That's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this short little teaching here, 6 or 7 slides long. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave me a like. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Share this with somebody who needs to see this, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week.